based on one that wants to be out of the public light, doesn't want his children involved, and that's why we see keep them get the back of their heads, and one that's desperate to utilise that.
And utilise the children.
It's absolutely unbelievable that any member of the royal family could have set about creating what is an international scandal where people have the means as a result of her and her husband's conduct to question whether they have perpetrated the scam of the century.
Lady Colin Campbell didn't hold back when she described the situation as the scam of the century on the record. That headline-making remark got attention fast, and for good reason. When someone with decades of experience around royal circles uses words that strong, people naturally take notice. She isn't known for tossing out dramatic claims without believing there's a serious issue worth discussing. For years, Thomas Markle has seemed to be reaching a similar conclusion, though from a very different position. He doesn't have royal connections or insider status. He's speaking as a father and grandfather who says he has spent years asking questions and hoping for contact, only to feel shut out. Recently, he has shared more about Lilibet, including what he says he has been shown, what he says he hasn't seen, and what he personally believes about the situation. Among people who have followed this story closely, the reaction has been intense. Some have expressed shock, while others remain skeptical. Either way, the latest comments from Thomas have sparked another wave of debate. We're looking at what he has said, why many believe his remarks carry extra weight, and what several well-known royal commentators are saying about a controversy that keeps making headlines. Before diving into Thomas Markle's latest statements, it's important to understand the bigger picture.
I do believe because there are no delivery certificates, and I heard stories early on around the time Archie was allegedly in utero and being born. I heard stories that royal staffers were not allowed to see or touch her abdomen. And what really got me was the idea that a royal physician was not allowed to examine her womb.
For years, he has publicly spoken about being separated from his grandchildren, and that part of the story alone has kept many people talking. At the center of it all is a question that refuses to disappear, no matter how much time passes. Thomas Markle has long argued that he has a unique reason for wanting answers. As Lilibet's grandfather, he has repeatedly spoken about questions he believes remain unanswered. The issue he keeps coming back to is straightforward. What do people actually know about these children beyond the limited information that has been shared publicly? And why, according to him, have so many questions been met with such a long period of silence? For many observers, that ongoing lack of direct information has become a major talking point all by itself. Even the basic facts surrounding the story continue to spark discussion. Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor recently celebrated her 5th birthday. She is the younger child of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle and was given a name that honours two famous figures in royal history, Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Diana. Yet Thomas Markle has publicly stated that he has never had a meaningful relationship with his granddaughter, a situation he says has been deeply painful. According to Thomas, there have been no visits, no regular conversations, and no family connection of the kind many relatives would hope to have.
Sorry, but the ever-changing hair colour and ever-changing size of their children is what causes so many conspiracy theories. How can she be smaller now at age 5 than she was a year ago climbing Mama Mountain? They are playing games, and I think even using AI to manipulate images. Yes, I believe they have children before anyone says otherwise, but perhaps this is why Harry allows her to release pictures of the kids as long as she heavily edits out their faces. Something is always off with the photos, and it's obvious they are heavily photoshopped and often badly, hence the little girl's hand melting into the balloon strings.
He has spoken openly about feeling distant from his grandchildren and about relying on the same public photos and social media posts that everyone else sees. Living in Rosarito Beach, Mexico, and dealing with health challenges, as he has described, Thomas has continued to share his perspective, keeping public attention focused on a family situation that remains the subject of intense debate and speculation. According to Thomas Markle, he feels he has no more access to his grandchildren than any member of the public. He has repeatedly said that he receives no private updates and relies on the same publicly available information that everyone else sees online. From his perspective, he has been absent from the children's lives, and he has continued speaking about that experience without receiving any public response that directly addresses his concerns. What has drawn renewed attention to his recent comments is the level of detail he has started discussing. Rather than focusing only on the emotional pain of being excluded, Thomas has also talked about questions he says have come to mind while viewing publicly released photographs. He has shared his personal observations and explained why certain images have left him confused, especially given his lack of direct contact with the family. Those remarks have fueled debate among followers of the story. Some people point to the limited number of public photos available, while others argue that differences in lighting, angles, image quality, or the passage of time can easily change how someone appears in pictures. Even so, the combination of Thomas's claimed lack of access and his public questions has kept the conversation alive and generated plenty of discussion online.
That's what Meghan is doing. She's not fooling anybody. Meghan is a hypocrite in the biggest sense of the word, because these children have moments where they look completely different in their sizes and the color of their hair. I think what Meghan is doing is trying to control a narrative, but failing miserably at it. We have caught on to her. We figured her out.
Looking at the timeline, Lilibet was born in June 2021. Since then, Thomas Markle has participated in numerous interviews where he has spoken about wanting a relationship with his grandchildren and trying to understand why that has not happened. He has continued raising those concerns despite knowing his comments would attract criticism and strong reactions from both supporters and critics alike. Thomas Markle has continued speaking out because he believes these questions deserve attention, and many of his supporters agree. What resonates most with them is not necessarily the controversy surrounding the story, but how simple his requests appear to be. He is not asking for a major public event, a media appearance, or a headline-making announcement. Instead, he has said he wants the kind of connection many grandparents hope to have with their grandchildren. According to his public comments, he would like a photo, a phone call, or simply the chance to hear his grandchild's voice. Supporters argue that these are ordinary family wishes, rather than extraordinary demands. From their perspective, the lack of contact remains one of the most emotional parts of the entire situation, especially because Thomas says he has never received a clear explanation for why the relationship has not developed. The debate has also been fueled by comments made by various royal commentators and public figures over the years.
That bump had more ups and downs than Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton's marriage. I'd never known another woman of colour or another woman without colour to have performed in a pregnancy the way Meghan did. Anything to do with those children and how they came into existence would have possibly racial implications, when of course it's nothing to do with that at all.
Some have raised questions about how certain events were handled and whether an unusual level of privacy surrounded parts of the family's personal life. These claims have generated significant discussion, but many details remain disputed, unverified, or based on individual accounts rather than publicly confirmed facts. Thomas Markle has been aware of these conversations and has referenced concerns that have circulated publicly. Like many parents facing a difficult family divide, he has spoken about trying to make sense of conflicting narratives while dealing with feelings of confusion, disappointment, and uncertainty. Those emotions continue to shape the way he views a story that remains a source of fascination and debate for many observers. Thomas Markle's recent comments about Lilibet give the impression of someone who is no longer speaking only from a place of sadness. Instead, he appears focused on getting answers to questions he has been raising for years. He has publicly stated that he believes he deserves those answers as a grandfather, and he has made it clear that he intends to keep speaking about the issue for as long as he feels those concerns remain unresolved. One point that continues to attract attention among commentators involves past claims about the level of privacy surrounding certain royal family matters.
Hugo is extremely cautious. Hugo, which I am not. I don't need to be. I can call a spade a spade. But also Hugo is, by saying what he has said, what Hugo is actually saying is the birth has raised questions of fraudulence, because you cannot give birth after you have given birth.
Supporters of those claims argue that some reported details seem unusual when compared with other well-known royal events. Critics, however, point out that many of these accounts remain disputed, incomplete, or unverified. That ongoing disagreement is exactly why the topic keeps generating headlines and debate years later. From Thomas Markle's perspective, the larger issue is not a single claim or rumour. It is what he sees as a broader pattern of distance and limited communication. Living in Mexico and relying largely on public information, he has said he has spent years trying to understand a situation that remains deeply personal to him. The longer those questions go unanswered, the more determined he appears to become. Another concern Thomas has raised repeatedly is that the lack of family contact leaves no opportunity for the kind of natural relationship many grandparents enjoy. He is not publicly calling for extraordinary access or special treatment. According to his statements, he simply wants the chance to know his grandchildren and share ordinary family moments. For his supporters, it is the length and consistency of that separation, not any single controversy, that stands out and continues to fuel discussion around this ongoing family dispute. Some of the latest online debate has centered on public photographs of Lilibet and the interpretations people have drawn from them. Critics have pointed to differences they believe they see from one image to another, including changes in appearance, perspective, or other visual details. Supporters of those theories argue that certain elements look unusual when photos are compared side by side, while others counter that factors like camera angles, editing choices, lighting, image quality, and natural growth can easily create misleading impressions.
Silence everybody and just produce a DNA sample or proof of delivery. If you had those things, it would be very easy just to put them out there and say, this is what happened. This is what it is. And so, if they don't like it, why don't they just satisfy the curiosity and the controversy?
These discussions have gained traction among followers of Thomas Markle's public comments. Many of them believe the photographs raise questions worth asking, while others see the speculation as reading too much into a very limited collection of publicly released images. Either way, the conversation has continued because there are relatively few photos available, leaving plenty of room for competing interpretations and heated online debates. Thomas Markle has often spoken about the fact that he has not had direct contact with his granddaughter. Because of that, he has said he is left relying on the same public images and information available to everyone else. From his perspective, that lack of personal access means he can only form opinions based on what is publicly shared, a situation he has repeatedly described as frustrating and painful. A recent birthday photo sparked another round of discussion online. The image showed Lilibet wearing a sundress photographed from behind, and social media users quickly began examining every detail. Some commenters focused on accessories visible in the picture, while others questioned why the photo was framed the way it was. Supportive media coverage described the image as sweet and heartwarming, but long-time royal watchers once again found themselves debating the same issue that keeps resurfacing. Whether the photos are simply private family snapshots or carefully managed public images designed to tell a specific story. That disagreement has become one of the most talked about parts of the ongoing controversy. Among Thomas Markle's supporters, there is a growing belief that they have identified patterns they feel can no longer be ignored. They point to years of public debate, limited access to information, and what they view as unanswered questions surrounding the family situation. As a result, many have become more vocal, arguing that the same explanations no longer satisfy them and that public interest in the story remains stronger than ever. For these supporters, the issue goes beyond headlines and royal gossip. They often focus on Thomas Markle's role as a grandfather rather than as a commentator. In their view, his perspective carries emotional weight because he has consistently spoken about wanting a relationship with his grandchildren, while claiming that those efforts have not led to meaningful contact. That continuing separation remains one of the most discussed aspects of the entire story. Thomas himself has repeatedly described his exclusion as difficult to understand.
You're not protecting their privacy because you're putting them out there purposefully. And the one thing that I would say is a little different with people who do say the same thing but also obscure their children's faces is when their children are, maybe caught in a shot that they didn't expect their child would be there. But what Meghan is doing clearly is she is highlighting these children constantly and putting them out there front and center to say, look at my children. That's what she is saying.
Supporters argue that when a family relationship remains distant for such a long period, people naturally begin searching for explanations. Critics of the view, however, caution that outsiders rarely know the full details of private family matters. The result is a debate that continues to divide public opinion and fuel endless speculation. Lady Colin Campbell has also weighed in on the controversy, often challenging arguments that she believes are used to dismiss certain questions too quickly. She has publicly stated her views on the subject and encouraged people to examine claims on their merits rather than making assumptions about motives. At the same time, discussions involving race, family dynamics, and public scrutiny can be highly sensitive topics, which is why reactions to these comments often become intense and spark even more public debate. Supporters of Thomas Markle often argue that the concerns being discussed are not about race, but about questions they believe arise from publicly available information. They maintain that the same debates would exist regardless of who was involved, because in their view, the focus is on perceived inconsistencies and the limited amount of information shared with the public. Others strongly disagree and argue that many of these conclusions rely on speculation rather than established facts. That disagreement has become a major fault line in the conversation. Thomas Markle approaches the issue from a very different perspective than royal commentators and analysts. He speaks as a father and grandfather who has publicly described years of frustration, disappointment, and unanswered questions. Because of that personal connection, his comments often resonate with supporters who see him as speaking from lived experience rather than from a professional or media-driven viewpoint. Despite their different backgrounds, some observers note that Thomas Markle and Lady Colin Campbell have both expressed concerns about aspects of the story they feel remain unexplained. Their reasoning may differ, but they have each argued that certain questions deserve closer examination.
And the biggest part of all of this, I believe, is going to be when these children do grow up and they get bigger, they're going to see the manipulation that their mother is doing. They're going to call their mother out later in life because Meghan is trying to use her children in a way that is not honest. She is trying to represent something that is clearly being manipulated. And that's what people resent.
Adding another layer to the debate is royal historian Hugo Vickers, a figure known for his careful research and measured commentary, whose observations are often followed closely by royal watchers and commentators alike. Hugo Vickers has publicly commented on aspects of the story in a way that attracted significant attention among royal watchers. His observations have been widely discussed because he is known as a respected royal historian who generally chooses his words carefully. Supporters of Thomas Markle often point to those comments as evidence that questions surrounding the situation are no longer being raised only by online commentators or tabloid headlines. In their view, the discussion has expanded far beyond that and now includes figures with established reputations in royal history and commentary. For many of Thomas Markle's supporters, this development marked a major shift. They argue that the issue is no longer just a private family disagreement, but a matter that has become part of a broader public conversation. They note that Thomas Markle has raised concerns, Lady Colin Campbell has shared her own views, and Hugo Vickers has also commented on related topics. As more public figures weigh in, supporters believe the questions have become harder to dismiss outright. At the centre of Thomas Markle's position is a belief that he deserves greater understanding of events that directly affect his family. He has repeatedly said that he wants answers and has expressed frustration over what he sees as a lack of transparency. Those feelings have remained consistent throughout years of interviews and public statements. Supporters also argue that the level of privacy and control surrounding information about Archie and Lilibet has been unusually strict. Critics counter that high-profile public figures often take extraordinary measures to protect their children's privacy. That difference in interpretation continues to fuel debate. For Thomas Markle's supporters, however, it is the combination of limited access, unanswered questions, and tightly managed public information that keeps them convinced there is more to the story than what has been publicly explained. Whether others agree or disagree, the controversy continues to generate intense discussion and attention. How many more public requests for answers can be made before people stop seeing this as just another headline and start viewing it as a lasting family mystery? That's a question many followers of this story continue to ask. Now it's your turn to weigh in. Do you think Thomas Markle deserves more answers about his grandchildren? Do you believe those answers will ever come?
I think Meghan is going to prove to be like Angelina Jolie. There are some women who will do anything to work over a man. And children are fair game. I have little doubt that if there was a divorce, she would bend over backwards to be as nasty as possible. That's just her personality.
Drop your thoughts in the comments because this is one of those stories that sparks strong opinions from every angle. If today's discussion gave you something to think about, make sure to hit the like button. It's a quick way to support the channel and helps more people discover these conversations and join the debate. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates. Also, share this video with friends, family, or anyone who follows royal news and wants to stay informed about the latest developments. The discussion continues to grow, the questions remain, and there's no shortage of opinions on where this story goes next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.